Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show, and with me right now, I've got a very special guest. He has worked for numerous wrestling promotions. Pleased to welcome the one, the only, Jason Speed. Welcome, Jason, to Wrestling with Heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's explain to everybody why I'm in this car. We set up this meeting, and I forgot I had this trip to do. I was going to do it from home, but we're here, and we're going to do this. I'm in my car.
All right. Glad we can make this work. So you're from New York City. Tell me about your childhood and upbringing.
Well, I was born actually in the Bronx, New York, and one of the toughest boroughs in New York City. And how I got into this wrestling business was my father was a luchador. His name was El Ángel Blanco. He had a gym in the Bronx, and that's how it started. I had my first match when I was 12 years old. But that's how it started. My dad was in the business for many years in Puerto Rico. He wrestled for the WWF at the time, and that was my upbringing. A tough neighborhood.
Wow, I mean, you're second generation.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your father. I mean, he must have gotten you into the business, like actually watching it on television and going to shows?
Yeah, exactly. And I say this to a lot of people, and I don't want them to think it was just because he was my father, but what got me into it, his matches was so exciting. Just seeing that and seeing my father up there, the excitement and the bloody matches, and at that age, I loved all that stuff, and I just couldn't wait to get into it. And he opened up a gym, and the minute he was there, I was like, Dad, I want to learn this. And teaching me, he didn't hold back. You know, he didn't teach me, he didn't treat me any different than any other students there. I mean, when I got chopped, when I got the shit beat out of me, it was legit. And learning the falls, a lot of people are not going to believe this. The ring was a ring converted from a boxing ring. But learning how to do the falls, it was outside on a marble floor, at least for me. So when I got in that ring, it was like nothing.
So you really had to condition yourself and really prepare yourself to take those bumps, because that floor, it hurts. It really does.
Yeah, and I think that was a good thing.
Well, let's talk about your dad for a second. You talk about, his matches. There's definitely an adrenaline rush when you come out there and you're pumping up the crowd. When you watch your father compete, anything that he may have mentioned to you, just like pieces of advice after you started training, after you watched him wrestle and kind of transitioned into helping you out?
Well, the first thing, and I think that's the first thing they tell you when you start in this business, is the work ethic and the locker room ethic, especially the locker room ethic. You know, when you first start, and I know it's a cliche, everybody says it, but it's true. You shut your mouth and you learn. You don't start thinking you know everything like they do now. A lot of these guys that start now, they think they know it all. They go in the locker room, they think they're the shit, and that's not how you work. That's when you get a lot of enemies, when you act that way. But that was one of the first things: the work ethic, ring ethic. You know, train hard. And I think, this is my opinion, I think a lot of the guys now have it easy.
Why do you feel that way?
Because now, back in the day, you had a lot of these athletic commissions. You had when I had a wrestling license from New York City. In order to get that back then, you needed years of training. You needed somebody to back you up, give you a letter saying you're ready to be a professional wrestler. Anybody could be a professional wrestler now. Not that they're professional, but they could be a professional wrestler. They could open up a school. You don't have to know nothing. You open up a school. You open up a promotion. You could be on YouTube. It's not the same.
It takes a lot of dedication, hard work, and sacrifice to really have a sustainable career and longevity in the business. And for you, training it's learning all those fundamentals. It takes a lot of time to really get that down. And I'd imagine, your dad really showed you the ropes,
Yes,
literally.
literally. Yeah. Yeah, but now I don't know your opinion about this, but mine, a lot of this new wrestling with the comedy and it's just such embarrassing. It's embarrassing. A lot of the stuff they do now, fighting invisible people, fighting dolls, fighting children, it's just nuts. And all these death matches you don't need a lot of skill to do these things. It's a sad state, in my opinion, today.
Well, do you recall like any drills that you learned from your dad that really kind of prepared you with conditioning and getting in shape? Because there's a difference between being in shape versus in ring shape. Talk to me about that. Anything you might
Well,
remember?
his condition, first of all, like I mentioned before, that running those floors on the concrete was nuts. But the conditioning now is, compared to that, is different. We did a lot of running the ropes. I mean, the first thing you do is learn the falls. Running the ropes, I mean, constantly. I'm talking for an hour, doing the same thing over and over and over. A lot of people now get frustrated. They just want to get straight to moves. That's not the way it works. So we did a lot of that. We did a lot of push-ups, jumping jacks, the whole nine. It's not like we went in there and learned moves. But his condition was serious. When you got out of there, you felt it. You felt that you had a workout.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the grind, and you really have to discipline yourself to learn your craft as much as you can so that you can move up the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Well, tell me about your first match. Were you nervous, scared?
Yeah, yeah. I was skinny. I looked like a toothpick. And I wrestled one of my dad's friends. I did so much screw ups, as you could imagine. First match, I was nervous. Man, the crowd was like 200 people, but I was nervous. I screwed up a lot. I screwed up the finish. When I got back, I thought to myself, I don't know what I want to do this. It didn't go well. But me thinking that I screwed up, and when I talked to my father, maybe he was just saying it because he was my father, but he was like, oh, you did great for your first match. Had a few mistakes, but I was doubting myself at that time.
What things were you saying to yourself to kind of get you out of that? Because it's all about confidence. You got to develop that
Right.
over time.
Just thinking back of all those matches my father had, it motivated me. I want to do that. I want to get to that level, and that's what. And my goal was really to get to the WWF. At that time, that's what it was, and I did it.
Well, tell me about how you got discovered by the WWE, WWF at that time, and leading up to signing a deal with them and working for them.
Well, I was working out at a gym in the Lower East Side of New York City with a wrestler called Pete McKay. And I think you know who Jason Knight is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been friends for 30 years, but he started in that gym too. So a friend of my father's there was looking for enhancement talent at the time. Happened to go to the gym, and he saw me working out, and he pulled me aside, said, they need guys uh, for long term to do enhancement talent. And I figured, hey, that's my foot in the door. So he gave me a call. I said yes. He gave me his number. Then he called me. I said yes. And then he said if I had anybody else that was interested. So I talked to Jason Knight and another friend of mine from high school. They trained with my dad, and the rest is history.
Well, when working for WWE, it's a huge, huge conglomerate. It's a huge company. And you got to share the locker room and work with so many people there. Tell me about some of the memories that you have that you can recall from your time there.
Okay, the first thing is when we got there. I mean, you're so excited to be there. I'm sorry, and you see all these stars that you see on TV. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was just walking amongst these people that you see on TV that you grew up admiring. Um, but yeah, it was crazy just walking in there and sitting down next to people, eating next to these people, and sharing a lot of stories with them. It was rare back then that the superstars would like really talk to enhancement talent, but I got to become friends with a lot of these guys, and I don't know if they saw something in me or whatever it was, but Macho Man, I shared beers with him. The Repo Man at that time, he's the first one actually. The Repo Man that I sat down, and he sat next to me. He told me, "Listen, you got to watch out for this person. Don't talk to this person." Like the ethic, the WWE locker room ethics, and I thought that was really great. There's a lot of nice people there.
And the cool thing about wrestling is that there's a lot of camaraderie. You go on the road, you're eating out, you're sharing, uh, hotels, rooming with people. Uh, any fun stories you want to share about your time on the road?
Sure, I got a good one. That gentleman that I mentioned that went to high school with me, that trained with my dad, he was one of those guys that was the cliche word, Mark.
Yep.
I kind of regretted taking him, but so there was one time, a lot of the guys like in the back like to play cards. So the Nasty Boys were playing cards with Virgil and somebody else. So they tell my friend, they said, "Listen, can you go tell Tito Santana that we're playing cards? We want him to come over." And the first words out of his mouth, I thought he was going to get killed. He said, "Why don't you go tell him yourself?" I was like, "Oh my God." So I'm standing, luckily they like me. So I'm standing next to him. They were like, "Okay." 20 minutes later, we look on the board. Guess who we working with? The Nasty Boys.
Oh, goodness.
So before the match, we're sitting in the locker room. I have my back towards that gentleman I was talking to. The Nasty Boys come in. They surround him. And he said, "What did you say to us earlier?" He said, "Oh, I didn't know where you were." I said, "How about we kick your ass right now?" So then we're going over the match. And it's like, who's going to take the armpit? I asked. He said, "No, your boy is." And if you watch that match, that match is on YouTube. The only thing they did to me, a double DDT pinned me. The rest was him. They annihilated him. If you go back and watch that match, they annihilated him. And when they got in the back, it was worse. So that's one of that crazy stories. I never saw him again after that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Wild.
you don't go in there thinking you're tough, especially if you're enhancing talent. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to work with the Nasty Boys. Who else did you get the chance to work with over in
A
WWE?
lot. I was at 20-man battle royal with all of them. I did match with Shawn Michaels. That's on YouTube also. Nails, remember that guy?
Hmm.
One of the most stiffest guys I've ever worked with in my life. But he didn't mean it. That was just his style. But Tatanka, a whole bunch of them.
Did you have like a favorite opponent that you got to work with throughout your career, or any?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels?
And I'm not blowing smoke up his ass, but a lot of people back then would say, "Oh, he was an asshole." He did. With me, my personal experience with him was great. He actually waited for me, so I got back to tell me I did a good job.
Wow, good.
And that's rare. Like I said, for enhancement talent, a lot of the guys didn't even care who they work with. But I thought that was nice.
So after WWE, where else did you work? Where else did you wrestle, compete for?
AWA, UWA in the Dominican Republic. I wrestled in Puerto Rico. The Savoldis, I don't know if you know who they are. They were a famous wrestling family. A whole bunch. My father started one up. I worked for him. I worked for Jason Knight recently, maybe a year ago. He has a promotion out, and he's opened up a school in New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to going there. But I mean, I did a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm still doing it. My goal is maybe this summer, by the end of the year, having a retirement match with my son, because my son is also training, and I had the privilege of tagging with him maybe a year ago at Jason Knight's promotion, and that was one of the most emotional moments that I could say. Just like I did with my dad, tagged once, I did that with my son.
It's a generational thing. You're teaching him. You learn from your dad. It's the cycle's going to continue. Anything that he's picking up from you, is he grabbing it right away?
I was just going to mention that. So before the match, we're setting things up. He was, Dad, I don't know if I could do this. I'm nervous. I want to back out. Relax. Everything's going to be, just remember everything I taught you. We get in there. I mean, he killed it. He killed it. And nobody knew who he was there. When we got to the back, they were like, I just can't believe this. This is your first match. It's incredible. And he felt so much better. People that didn't even know him, they knew he was my son. They knew it was his first match. But they were just amazed. And I was amazed myself. Everything that he did, his selling, his bumps, everything, it was just so perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting to be able to have another family member in the business learning, picking it up, and hopefully eventually having a long career, because the lifeblood of wrestling is the youth. And I think is amazing to see that legacy continue on.
And not only that, not only just the youth, is how you learn, who you learn it from. Because, like I said, there's a lot of little schools around there. They just play around. They don't take it serious. And then when these people go out there for this first match, they look like idiots. You have to have a place that has old school morals, that have morals, period.
Now, wrestling for promotions around the world, I know it's a night and day difference with the United States. What was it like working in? It's a whole another difference, I should say, wrestling in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic compared to wrestling in the States.
Yeah, I'll tell you about the Dominican Republic. I didn't know it was like that over there. Okay, here you'll go to a local promotion. You're in the same locker room. You talk out the matches in the same locker room, and then you go out and do your thing. Over there is a whole different story. You're in one locker room. The heels are in another locker room. and everything's written on a pad. So the match is written on a pad. They bring it to you. They show you what the match is going to be like. If you want to change something or anything, you change it. They send it back to the guy. So you're not really talking. And I think that's a difficult way to put a match together.
Oh,
But
yeah, that communication.
yeah. But that's a whole different story, and the crowds there are nuts. I remember my second match. It was one of the top heels over there, Relampago Hernandez, and we're doing our thing, and he's like a really big heel over there. And over there they have the army guys as security. So he gets out there, he gets in an argument with one, legit. The guy takes out a gun to, he wanted to shoot the guy. First thing I did was run under that ring. I didn't come out until I knew it was safe. But it's wild over there. The fans take it, I mean, legit serious. And not only that, with the guards there, I would come out because they had sent promotional tapes of me over there, so everybody knew who I was. So you want to come out, you come out to go to your car. The kids try to, grab on you. The cops were, bashing it with nightsticks. I'm like, chill out. The kids just want to shake my hand. It was wild over there.
Yeah.
That's a whole different, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's switch gears and talk about some of the stuff you've done outside of wrestling. I know you've been involved with a lot of charity work and done a lot of stuff to help out in your community. What stuff have you done to help give back over the years?
Well, there was I did a lot of promotions with not the name of it was my father had a his friend had a promotion in Harlem, and every year we used to do a Christmas drive and hand out toys to the kids. That was a yearly thing. We went to hospitals to visit children. My father's promotion did the same thing. And my father never charged students from the community that were financially strapped. They go in there, he'll take kids that have problems, in the street, maybe with drugs, maybe getting in trouble with the law, and he never charged them. And we did a lot of stuff like that. And the headhunters came out of his school too, and they helped out a lot.
Was there a particular moment or memory that when you were helping someone out that just really was heartwarming?
Yeah, there was one kid that I think it was in the Bronx that he had lost his mother to an illness. His father went to jail, and that kid was a mess. And I happened to meet him across the street in a community center across the street, Batanzas. And we started talking, and I told him I wrestled, and said I would like to learn that. Brought him into my father's. And I was saying in 4 months, he was really catching on. I never heard him get in trouble again. He got a job. So that was one of the inspirational moments. We could get that kid off the street.
Yeah, it's sad when you see people that are struggling, and it's hard to it's hard when they're suffering and they're not in a good place. And one of those things, it's one of those situations where you have to be there for them because they're going through something in their life that it's just so it's hard to describe it. It really is, because I think it's just when you help somebody that's not in the right place in life, you want to help them make sure that they do good and that their mind is right. So kudos to
And
you for
not
being
only
able to do
that,
it.
not only that, if you don't break that cycle, it's just going to keep on. Yeah, you have a child, and he sees you doing what you're doing. He's going to think that's normal, and then he's going to have children, and then he's going to probably do it, and they're going to think it's normal. So breaking the cycle, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, because you got to know right from wrong. You have to know what's right is right, wrong is wrong, and to be able to have the knowledge to correct behaviors, that's very important.
And that starts at home.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
What is it about giving back to the community that gives you the most joy?
It's just that seeing somebody succeed, seeing somebody get out of the rut they're in and change their life around, and just seeing smiles on kids' faces. They can't afford toys at Christmas, and you're giving them for the moment at least some kind of happiness. I think that's great.
Best
And I'm
feeling.
always doing that. I'm always doing that. Maybe I have a fault because I try to help as much people as I can. I walk down the streets of New York City all the time. I see homeless people. I try to give as much as I can. They ask for money. I rather say, listen, there's a restaurant there. You want to go? I'll get you something to eat. You never know really what they're gonna do with this money. But and I taught my kids that too. They know that about me. I feel so bad when I see somebody that's unfortunate or sleeping in the streets. So yeah, I do a lot of that stuff, and I just love it.
All you can do is pay it forward one step at a time.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Jason, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media?
I'm all over. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Snap, TikTok, and you can hit me up. I'll answer any question. And I really thank you for reaching out.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And you're more
No
than welcome
problem.
to come back.
We'll do a part 2 sometime.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right. You take care too.
Bye-bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.